for us, our objective here, going into the season was, of course, to finish as close to the top of the table as possible. But we know that in this, challenge race, quote unquote, it's always difficult. So we're going to go into this and take it game by game. Obviously, when you pick up results like this last one, it's very helpful in order to compete with the top teams. But we know that we have a lot of tough games left. So we need to stay focused on the task at hand and know that if we pick up 3 points in each game and just take it game by game, then that's going to be our best opportunity to succeed.
You feel like overtaking Bayern is a realistic objective?
Yeah, of course. You always have to look at it as a competitor, as a realistic objective. As soon as you start speaking negatively about it, or say, yeah, it's out of our favor. With 2 points, between us, of course, it's a challenge. We know that it's going to be a long season still, but we know, like I said, that if we take it game by game, that we can compete with these types of teams.
Does it add pressure when you look at the table and it's just 2 points and suddenly, I'm sure the buzz in Germany and the press is that there is a proper title race between you and Bayern Munich?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really sense the pressure in it. You have to kind of embrace, if anything, we're close to the top of the table. This is exactly where we planned on being. We're reaching a lot of our objectives, but we know that there's a lot we can do to improve still, which is kind of a scary thing. We're a young team. We're an ambitious team. But we're going after it as anything else. Every single year we want to compete with the best teams, whether that's in Champions League and the Bundesliga, and we have big games left. So if we can knock some of those big games off and continue to win, yeah, we're going to be a dangerous team.
What makes Bayern so hard to peg back from your perspective?
Such a quality side. I mean, the team is a well-oiled machine. They go game in and game out, and they're able to win games, whether it's, the biggest games or the smallest games. In their eyes, they just know that they have to go out there and do a job. And, for us, a young and ambitious team, this is kind of the model. They've set the landscape of what it's like, obviously coming off winning so many major trophies and winning them all. This is, the dream. So for us, we have to look at what we can obviously do the best. And, when we have the opportunity to face them, we always know that it's a big game.
They play some, big games, but their Klassiker is probably the one that comes to mind the most. What's your perspective when you watch a game like that, kind of as the premier matchup in Germany, and you watching both those teams as teams you're either competing with for a European spot or obviously now in the case of Bayern, the title?
Yeah, I mean, obviously in those games, right, you want to see a result that favors you and you can continue to rise the table and continue to, move up as far as you can. But we know that these games, the most important games, are the ones that we're playing in. So when you have the opportunity to play, some of the biggest teams, you want to go in there and you need to get results in order to compete at the top of the table.
You mentioned the cup at the beginning of the interview. How big is that for the club?
Yeah, I mean, the Pokal is very important. I remember when I first arrived, we made it to the Pokal final, and what a feeling that was to play in Berlin in front of that many fans, and you can really sense the importance of what the German Cup means. So for us, yeah, right now we're still in it, but we have a tough game against Wolfsburg, and we're going to need a big result. But we know that we have a realistic chance of making it far because we've done it in the past. So we're going to continue and take that experience of what it was like to make it that far, and on this game on Wednesday, we want to go out there and we want to win.
Another cup competition, Champions League. How do you feel you stand going into that second leg against Liverpool?
Yeah, it's very difficult. Being down 2-0 is never the aggregate that you want to face, but we have nothing to lose. We're going to go out there. We're going to do exactly, the game plan that we set up in order to succeed. And we know that if we play our best football, that anything can happen. We saw it against Gladbach. We've seen it in past games. We just need to go out there and we need to compete. We're not afraid of anything. Where, like I said, we're an ambitious team, but we need to go out there and obviously prove that we have more quality than in the first leg.
Is some part of the confidence that maybe I'm picking up in your voice, you look back at that first leg and it's just really mistakes that make the difference? Like, you guys on the day probably feel you were as good as them.
Yeah, 100%, right? I mean, you look at that and it's, two mistakes that we've never really made. So it was kind of, self-inflicted. So when we look at that and we say, wow, we managed our own, we held our own, we can compete with these top teams like we've shown in the last Champions League last year. we can be a very dangerous team, but we need to stay focused, obviously, for 90 more minutes and play our best football, because that's ultimately what's going to help us succeed.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.